Many new faces, many old faces. Okay, so welcome all of you to the first class of the September batch. I'll just take your 10 minutes to explain that how the course is going to be run. We are starting with the topic of paper 2. Okay, and paper 2, as you know, is mainly having comparative politics, theory of IR, bilateral relations, organizations. Okay, volume नहीं आ रही है. Am I audible at the back? आ रही है आवाज? ठीक है. Nevertheless, it's better now. ठीक है. चलो. So we'll start with paper 2 today. Those who are in this particular class, we have almost composition 60% are new students, 40% from the June batch. Okay, some 200 students. So on the days when ma'am is taking class, the topic of paper 2 would be discussed. So you need to come. On the days when I am taking class, the same topic will be going on. So you can choose to either take class in your own batch, 11 AM, or the morning batch. It is your discretion. So parallelly, two topics are going to start, paper 2 and the IGP. Usually in a week, 2 days classes would be mine, wherein I'll be starting the IGP topic, and 4 days of Shubhra ma'am. The assigned days are Wednesday, Thursday will be the class of IGP, mine class, and rest of the days Shubhra ma'am will take the class in morning. Okay, in this slot. But there can be changes. Maybe we'll exchange the classes if there is some kind of requirement of the teacher in some other batches. Okay. The duration of the course, which may be a question in many of your that what would be the duration of the course. Minimum 8 months would be there. Okay. And we'll try ki maximum be 8 months ही हो. Okay. So thoda see, the thing is, as I explained in the workshop also, good things take time. चाहे तो 6 months में भी सिलेबस फिनिश कर सकते हैं, उतना ही पता चलेगा जितना हम पढ़ाएंगे. ठीक है. तो बट देयर विल बी नो यूज ऑफ इट. हमारे लिए कोई इसका फायदा नहीं होगा इन द लॉन्ग टर्म. एंड सिंस दिस इज द फाउंडेशन कोर्स, इसमें समय लगता है, एंड पॉलिटिकल साइंस थोड़ा सिलेबस इसका कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव है. So there's only option is that cut down on the topics, but that is not going to help you and it is not going to help us also. So 8 months it will take. Relax होके पढ़ना है. ठीक है. पहली क्लासेस में शायरी नहीं बोलते हैं. ठीक है. मेरी एक बहुत बड़ी बुरी आदत है. नहीं, शायरी मोटिवेशन वाला पहली क्लास है ना, इनसे सीखो. इनको मोटिवेशन वाला अब नहीं जरूरत पड़ती. नहीं, शायरी नहीं थी, बट आई डोंट नो हाउ एथिकल वुड बी टू से इन द फर्स्ट क्लास PSIR सिलेबस को लेके कि व्हाई इट कैन नॉट बी डन इन अ वेरी फास्ट मैनर, क्योंकि शरबत और शराब पीने में अंतर होता है. गुड थिंग्स, इफ यू वांट टू डाइजेस्ट द कॉन्सेप्ट, इट विल टेक टाइम. अदरवाइज फिर वो 4 महीने वाले भी बच्चे आते हैं हमारे पास, जो कि आके फिर हमारा नोट्स खरीदते हैं कि 4 महीने में सिलेबस तो फिनिश हो गया, लेकिन अपना ही नोट्स खुद नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. तो इट विल टेक टाइम. तो ये क्वेश्चन बार बार नहीं आना चाहिए कि सर सिलेबस कब खत्म होगा. आपको भी जितनी जल्दी है, हमें भी उतनी ही जल्दी है. वी डोंट वांट टू कीप यू सीटेड हियर. ओके. एंड व्हेन यू आर सिटिंग हियर गिविंग योर 2.5 hours डेली, द टीचर इज आल्सो स्टैंडिंग हियर एंड टीचिंग. तो टाइम तो टीचर का भी जा रहा है. I understand your time is important, but at some level teacher's time is also important. But the thing is, ultimately quality should come out. Otherwise कोई फायदा नहीं है. 8 months का भी कोर्स फिर 4 महीने 5 महीने का कोर्स करने का कोई फायदा नहीं. उससे बढ़िया नहीं किया जाए, isn't it? So it will take time. Those who have joined today, if you have any issue related to the PSIR course, there is one email ID you should write. आपको मेल उस पर ड्रॉप करना है, PSIR@shubhraranjan.com. PSIR@shubhraranjan.com. ठीक है. So anything related to classes छूट गई हैं, anything like that, आपको इस पे ड्रॉप करना है. Those who are the tablet students, आपके लिए 20 exceptional lectures हैं. That means if you're leaving the classes throughout the course 20 आप access कर सकते हैं. For offline students, my recommendation, don't leave the classes because backlog हो जाता है, it becomes difficult. But yet because of any reason, college में exam है, any kind of medical situation, if you are missing the classes, then we'll arrange for the slots here. We provide you the tablet at the premises where you can watch the lectures, or we are going to start a video batch in 5 to 7:30 p.m. in the evening, wherein the lecture of your batch is going to be played. So that will be starting in the first week of October. So yadi, that means that course will be running behind by 1 month. So if you are missing any classes in your offline mode, you can attend there. For that, you'll have to drop a mail on this particular thing. Those who are attending in the tablet mode online, for you, for any technical issue, the email ID would be admin@shubhranjan.com. Okay, so you'll have to write on this particular email ID. और कुछ बताना है? I think that's fine. So let's start with the class. Ma'am को बोलते हैं. Any doubt from your side, those who have joined today? Any doubt? Course related? कुछ नहीं. चलो ये भी ठीक है. With respect to syllabus, IGP and comparative politics sections I will take, and rest of the topic is taken by ma'am. Okay. Some videos we are going to give. This is important. For example, the IPT, Indian Political Thought. There are 10 videos that we will give. Okay. And there is a topic, commissions, statutory and constitutional commissions, जिसमें हमें इलेक्शन कमीशन, नेशनल कमीशन ऑफ शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, बैकवर्ड क्लासेस, बहुत सारे कमीशंस पढ़ने हैं. ठीक है. In that, there are certain commissions which are very factual in nature. For that, video will be given. Important commissions like Election Commission of India, Finance Commission, NHRC will take in the offline classes. So it will be some of the videos has to be given, because anyway IPT video is something, IPT is a very static topic. So anyway ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ उसमें अपडेट आया है कि गांधी has said something new, Ambedkar has said something new. वो तो static ही है. And generally a 10 marker question is asked from IPT. आप PYQ उठा के देखेंगे 10 marker आता है. So very straightforward questions come from IPT वाले videos जो है जो lectures हैं will give in the video format. ठीक है. Thank you all of you.
So good morning all of you and welcome to the class. And Satya Prakash sir must have told you few things about how we will be conducting the class. And if anybody wants to ask question, you can raise your hand. Somebody from here will come and will give you mic. Use your mic properly so that others also understand the question and they do not get lost. Fine. And when I will teach, first of all, don't start writing immediately. Fine. We will write in a systematic manner. So listen the discussion first. I will start with international relations and will tell you how you should be approaching this particular paper, and you understand that international relations along with your optional is also a part of your GS paper 2, and political science students, they need not to prepare separately for that section. The nature of the questions in PSIR, optional and GS from international sections are not going to be very different. For your GS, whatever you want to prepare, just focus on the factual parts. Suppose we are doing ASEAN, we are doing UN. Here we will not be covering because we have to prepare from the perspective of subjective questions. So the only difference is for every topic you prepare the factual parts, means when formed, how many members, headquarters, and these type of things. Again, international relations as a subject is not only important for general studies, it is going to dominate in your interviews. Fine. So when the interviews or personality tests, 60 to 70% of the questions will be revolving around foreign policy, and in time to come, the weightage of foreign policy is going to increase both in the personality tests as well as your GS paper. So utilize it from that perspective. Again, international relations will also cover a very huge proportion of your world history. Fine. Especially after Second World War onwards. In general studies, you don't get many questions from world history, and half of the questions, for example, in case if question comes from world history, one question or there is a greater probability of asking questions after the end of Second World War. So again, we will be doing in a integrated manner, in the sense that you should be able to do your world history questions, questions like Cold War, questions like non-aligned movement, questions like Arab-Jewish war, colonization process, etc. So the way political science will give you a perspective, history alone cannot give the perspective. And this particular approach, if you will apply in your general studies, obviously you will get more marks. And if you will relate the topics, and you will also save lot of time. Now, starting international relations will also help you in starting to make sense of the newspapers and the developments which are taking place. There are two parts of international relations when we are studying as a subject. One is the theoretical and the conceptual part, which is the base, fine. And the second part is the dynamic part. Now, what is the challenging aspect of international relations is dynamism, and students are most like they are more scared about the dynamic element. But if dynamism is there, you can't help it. In the entire civil services, whichever paper you will take, optional GS, that dynamic element forms the most important part. The current affairs, the contemporary affairs, they form the most important part of the syllabus. We will be covering till the time, suppose I am covering ASEAN, I'll be covering till today, but after that you will have to keep on updating your notes through the paper. And you have to, like, if you want, what is the textbook for international relations? Any newspaper. If you are studying Hindu, fine, don't go for various sources, we don't require. Other than my class notes, what you have to pick up from the newspapers is just facts. For example, I will discuss India and West Asia, but suppose UAE, India UAE relations, new agreements, this factual part needs to be updated from your side. Okay. Now, international relations as a subject, again I said, there are factual elements and there are conceptual elements. We have to focus more on conceptual elements, less on factual elements. Factual elements, timeline, these are the things which are there just to give you a clarity. The questions that will be asked will not be factual in nature, whether you talk about subjective paper of GS or political science. So maybe we will discuss certain facts. I will discuss certain timelines of the evolution of India-US relations. The idea will be you develop the understanding of the trends, but do not worry so much about the factual part. The questions, if you will understand, see, they are almost based on concept. So, international relations is not as dynamic as we tend to think about it. Subject to the condition, you know how to approach this paper by understanding the basics of it. And I will recommend that you make notes on the loose sheets if you can manage, because especially in international relations, this will help you in managing your notes. Suppose we take or we study India and West Asia, some new development happens. So even if you will keep the content separately in your files, or let's say in your computers or in notes, you will never be able to take it back and include it. So then and there you will have to include it. So make different folders or files that will help you in managing your notes later on. And again, don't worry so much about the scholars, etc., in international relations. You have to understand the views of the theorists, not that much of scholars. So there is a difference between the theorists and the scholars. If I will name the theorists, theorists are like Morgenthau, Mearsheimer, Kenneth Walls, and the scholars, anybody can write in newspaper. Fine. So it's not that they are the authentic voices. But when you read articles, if you like any statement, note it down. So it will always help you in managing your notes in the last moment. It's clear? Any question you want to ask? And even when you will study international relations, you will also develop a base for your Western thoughts. Fine, because everything is interconnected. One subject provide the base for the other subject. Fine. So when I will tell you write, then you write. For rest of the time you listen. For international relations, maybe you will not require, but you can use different pens, in the sense if some quote is there, if some figure, in the sense the trade figures, etc. is there. So that will help you in revising when you will be giving the exams. Okay. So now you know the syllabus of international relations. So I'll discuss the syllabus when required. First of all, let us understand the introduction of international relations as a subject. What type of subject it is, so that we are mentally prepared to study. Fine. And I can say, or we can say that among different disciplines in humanities, international relations is one of the youngest disciplines. Okay. Unlike political theory, which emerged in ancient Greece, international relations is very new subject. New subject means it started in 20th century. Fine. And the first department of international relations was established in 1919, means after the end of First World War. And where is the base of this particular subject? The base of this particular subject is in history and in political science. Fine. It is very much dominated by history, but today it is very interdisciplinary subject. You cannot say now political science and international relations, they are two different subjects. Fine. So when you do PSIR as an optional, you are not doing one optional, actually you are doing two optionals. Are you scared? No, because international relations has become a separate subject in itself. Fine, you do MA in IR, you do MA in political science. In political science, a small part of IR, but IR has become a separate discipline. So obviously it will also take time, because you are doing two optionals, not one, but it is worth it. The worth it is because it will help you across all subjects. Fine. So first of all, you write introduction of international relations. So just first point you write, right? International relations is one of the youngest disciplines. Fine. So since it is youngest discipline, there is not much theory. There are concepts. Political science part 1 will be very, very theoretical. Fine. But international relations theories are developing, and lot many new theories of international relations have come after the end of Cold War. Fine. So it is one of the youngest disciplines. Fine. Next point, right? Right. The first chair. Leave it. छोड़ दो बाद में आज नहीं चाहिए. Right. The first chair. Chair means department. The first chair in international relations was set up in 1919 at University of Wales. Fine. Next point. Right. This chair was called as Woodrow Wilson chair. You know about Woodrow Wilson? Woodrow Wilson was president of US president at the time of First World War. Fine. And we give credit. Don't write everything. When I tell, then write. Okay? So we credit Woodrow Wilson for the emergence of international relations as a discipline and to begin the systematic study. Is that clear? So he is US president. What do you should infer? Just like political science, political theory, political philosophy, it started in ancient Greece. Fine. So it is Greek or European in nature. Fine. But political science as a subject, it is also known as American social science. Fine. It is a contribution of Americans and it is dominated. Every subject has set of experts. Fine. So USA or IR experts, they are from US. So international relations is also known as American social science. So it is a social science subject started by Americans, dominated by Americans. Okay? And IR as a subject is by American and for Americans. Fine? So by means both BY by as well as BUY by. Fine? You can use anything. By Americans and by American. Okay? So what do you buy in this subject? You buy in this subject American perspective. Okay? American way of understanding the things. And why do you have to buy American narrative? Because you have to buy American goods. ठीक है, तो IR एक सब्जेक्ट क्यों बनाया गया? जिससे अमेरिका का कारोबार चले. ठीक है, तो बाई से ज्यादा ये बाई इंपॉर्टेंट है. और सबसे बड़ा कारोबार क्या है? डिफेंस. ठीक है, तो यूएस क्या है? यूएस इज अ मिलिट्री इंडस्ट्रियल कॉम्प्लेक्स है. फाइन. एंड who is running the show in international politics? US. Fine. But what is happening today is that China is trying to take the command in its hands. Fine. So what is happening in international politics is that there is a challenge, there is a China challenge to US hegemony. Okay, and this is how we will be studying. Up till now we are studying the international relations as a subject which is dominated by Americans. Fine. So our ideas, do you understand how our ideas are shaped? How do we act? We act on the basis of our mind. Fine. And what shapes our mind? Ideas, theories, narratives. Fine. And we will be impacted by the persons, those who are giving the theories. So US will be feeding lot of things in our mind, and we will be looking at the world through the American lenses. So whatever is being done, there is a purpose. So what is the purpose behind this particular subject? The purpose behind this particular subject is to establish USA's hegemony, to protect USA's hegemony. So all theories that you will study in international relations, they will be from this point of view. तो अभी आपको यही समझना है कि international relations is an American social science, a subject by American, to by American, for Americans. And right now what you are doing is, or right now what is happening is, what is happening in international relations? What you are seeing in international relations? By Americans. Fine. So Americans by, whether it is Afghanistan, fine, whether it is West Asia, people want to get rid of them. And the space which US is leaving, China is fast occupying. India is also a contender into it. Fine. So now India wants to build its own theories, its own narratives. We have started floating our ideas of the vision of world order, cosmopolitanism, and we are moving in international relations through the India way. Fine. So this is the scenario in which the world politics is today. Fine. And it's not that there is world politics, there is also politics in the disciplines. Fine. So what is the original aim of international relations as a discipline? To establish, to strengthen, to perpetuate, to preserve the hegemony of US. And how you built your power? By controlling the mind. To control the mind, the means is theory, the means is ideas. And if Americans are dominating in the discipline, they will also be dominating in the field of international politics. Have you understood this? So now write the third point. Write, international relations is termed as, is known as American social science. ठीक है, underline American social science. They can ask you what do you mean by that. Fine. So first point लिखो, right? It is dominated by American scholars. ठीक है, just for your information, there is only one school which is not American. Fine. And that is called as English school, British school. वरना IR कहने का मतलब है American only. Fine. Now don't write anything. Now India, China, we are also trying to develop the narratives. Fine. So India and China, which type of countries we are? Post-colonial states. Fine. So new narratives are being developed, which I will tell when the right time comes. Fine. So American social science, first thing is it is dominated by Americans. Second, right, it is founded with the objective to establish hegemony of USA. Underline hegemony. Hegemony means power. So you can exercise power openly, but more effective use of power is when you make a theory. अगर हर चीज की एक theory दे दी जाए, fine, explanation दे दिया जाए, then the exercise of power becomes easier. Fine. So this is the purpose international relations as a subject is doing. Fine. Now come to the next point and write Alfred Zimmer. Alfred Zimmer, ZIMMERN. बाद में इनका नाम नहीं याद करना है, बस जानकारी के लिए. Alfred Zimmer was the first person to occupy Woodrow Wilson chair. Means first professor of international relations. Okay. Now write next paragraph. Write, though international relations as a subject is very new, write in bracket, 20th century, yet international politics as a process is quite old. ठीक है. Now write next point. ऐसे लिखो, nature of the discipline. So one word is, it is interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary subject. Different subjects have been combined together to form this subject. It is interdisciplinary subject. ठीक है, अब लिखो in the beginning it borrowed concepts from, first write history, second political science, दोनों को ब्रैकेट करो, एरो करके या ब्रैकेट करके ऐसे लिखो, इनिशियली डोमिनेटेड बाय scholars from history and political science. हिस्ट्री का बहुत, इसलिए इंटरनेशनल हिस्ट्री बहुत जुड़ी हुई है इससे, ठीक है। अब लिखो हाउएवर लेटर ऑन it came to be dominated by scholars from other disciplines. In other disciplines, you write first mathematics, ठीक है, तो write in bracket game theories. Game theories are there. Game, GAME, game. Game theories, probability वाला जो concepts हैं, ठीक है, game theories, mathematics. Next, sociologists. Next, anthropologists. Next, right now, every discipline of social sciences is dominated by linguistics. Okay, language, study of language. And right now you can say by linguists. Yet if you are writing discipline, linguistics, language studies. So it is no more a monopoly of political science, yeah, political scientists. It is no more a monopoly of history, but it is still heavily grounded in these two subjects. Fine. So we will pick up the theoretical angle later. First of all, we would like to have a overview of the evolution of international relations. Fine. So write a subheading, evolution of international relations. Fine. And it will be more appropriate if I say evolution of international politics rather than international relations, right? Oblique international politics. Okay. So, what is the difference between international relations and international politics? Fine. So, international relations is a broad concept, fine, where you talk about trade relations, you talk about cultural relations, you can talk about sports, you can talk about people, diaspora, and so many things. So, it's a broad concept. And within that broad concept, there is a smaller and more focused thing, and that is politics. Fine. So, where is the focus? Obviously, all these things are important. Fine. But the core of the discipline will be understanding politics, international politics. Fine. You have understood the difference? So, right, just ऐसे लिखो note करके लिखो what is the difference between international relations and international politics. Just write international relations is a wider term. It includes socio-cultural, economic, humanitarian, and various other types of interactions between the states. Okay. Now, next paragraph. International politics is narrower, more focused, comma, where we focus on diplomacy, war, and similar concerns. Okay. Now write. In fact, politics is the core of all other types of interaction. All other types of interaction. For example, if the political relations, if the diplomatic relations between India and Pakistan are good, we can think about cricket, you can think about movies and other things. Fine. So, what is the core? If you want to become a specialist, then you have to understand the core. Fine. Now, for understanding the core, you should also understand what is politics. How do we define politics? Is that clear? So, international politics and how to define international politics. What is international politics? Fine. So, now let us understand, as in right, in order to understand international politics, we should have the idea of what is politics. Have you done politics? Huh? You do politics with your friends, fine, with your family members, you do politics. What exactly is that? क्या करते हैं? Manipulation. Okay, so without manipulation, actually you can't lead your life. Fine. Why do you want to manipulate? What is the purpose you manipulate? Power, to get things done what you want. To get things done what you want means you should have power. Power means influence. Other persons should do what you want. Fine. So politics is about power. Fine. So how do you explain international politics? There are so many states. Every state needs power. So international politics can be described as the struggle for power. Fine. So what is politics? Why a person joins politics? Why a person wants to be in politics? And in order to remain, anybody who joins politics, one who wants power. Fine. And what do you require to remain in politics? Power. And throughout you are something in politics, what you will be doing? Power struggle on day-to-day basis. So what is human life? Struggle. Fine. So is politics a part of human life? तो जो essence of human life है वो struggle ही है, ठीक है? There is a struggle every day, and politics is also struggle, and politics is also a part of our day-to-day life. Fine. So the simplest way you can understand politics is power. Fine. And international politics as struggle for power. So we have to understand how power is operating in international politics. Fine. So what is the reason behind India-US strategic partnership? Why we want strategic partnership with US, or why US wants partnership with India? Charity, power. Fine. So why do you need power? Why does India need power and to work with US? To balance the power of China. Fine. So international politics is something the most common, very natural, very automatic, we don't have to think, is balance of power. Fine. So what foreign policies, if you study foreign policies, ultimately what do you see? What states are doing in foreign policies? They are trying to maintain the balance of power. Okay. So if the balance goes, your ability to protect your interests will go. Fine. So there is also an alternative name of international politics which you hear very frequently. Fine. And that alternative name is geopolitics. Fine. Now how should we define geopolitics? Geopolitics is simply the game of balance of power. Fine. One word meaning of geopolitics is balance of power. Fine. So one of the most heard term in present times in geopolitics is free and open Indo-Pacific. Fine. So what is free and open Indo-Pacific? Free and open Indo-Pacific defines Asian geopolitics. Fine. So it is an attempt to establish the balance of power. And who has disturbed the balance? China. Fine. So how this term, the most important term, in international relations today is to understand free and open Indo-Pacific, in and out, and how this term has evolved. So, first, the term that was used by USA, because the language of international politics is American. Fine. So the first term that was used by USA to highlight that the balance of power is getting disturbed was Asia pivot. Asia pivot policy started after the end of Cold War. Fine. So Asia pivot, if you see, do you know about Cold War? Fine. So main focus of Cold War was in the continent of Europe, and then Asia pivot, because once the Cold War ended in Europe with the dismantling of the Berlin Wall, so US started focusing towards Asia, and then the war in Afghanistan and then war in Middle East started. And again in Asia, what we see, that center of gravity of international politics shifted towards Asia Pacific. Fine. So Asia Pacific means China. You don't use the direct language in politics. Politics has its own language. So those who are experts in politics, they will make sense of the words. So when you are studying international relations, you have to make sense of these terms. Fine. So Asia, pivot to Asia policy was to contain rise of China. And then America came more explicitly. They started using another term, and that was Asia rebalance. Okay. And then US realized that the power of China has grown so much that it cannot balance the rise of China on its own, and so gave the concept of free and open Indo-Pacific. From Asia Pacific to Indo-Pacific means to counter the rise of China, and balance means to shift the balance in its favor. US would like to have the balance is now turning like this, US is like this, and China is more heavier. So to maintain this balance, now they require India. Okay. So inclusion of India, and now the world politics is centered in Asia. World politics is centered in Indo-Pacific, from Pacific Ocean to the entire Indian Ocean, and you see in the Arabian Sea, it's all politics, US-China politics. You see Bay of Bengal, you see the developments in Bangladesh, again US-China politics. Fine. The movement US, India at G20 agreed for IMEC corridor as a opposition to BRI. What we see, the beginning of the war in Gaza. Okay. So understanding, and Asia, the biggest continent, fine, biggest continent, the in terms of population also. So what is a population? Population is a market, fine, and Asia is, you can say, the most important continent from the perspective of world politics, and India is located at a very critical place in Asia. Fine. So the geography of India destines India to play a very key role in the world politics, whether it is Southeast Asia, whether it is West Asia, whether it is Central Asia. Fine. So had it been a integrated South Asia, Pakistan was not partitioned. Again, India's role in Central Asia. Fine. So why every country, like why US, why Russia, why Germany want to bring India under its sphere of influence? Because whether we talk about the two moving forces of international politics is, one is trade and another is war or security, and from all perspective India's location is very central. So Lord Curzon used to say India is a jewel in the crown. Fine, the most important colony to maintain the hegemony, to maintain the empire of Britain. Fine. So whether Indians want it or not, fine, India is destined to play a very important role in global geopolitics. Even if we want that, we want to stay away, we cannot stay away because we are at the very center of this geopolitics. Fine. So if it is G7, it is uh, Russia, it is other countries, it is Africa, you will find India everywhere. So you must be knowing Aurobindo Ghosh, who was a very prominent leader of the freedom struggle and who is also known as the prophet of Indian nationalism. And Aurobindo Ghosh has said that the rise of India is inevitable. Fine. Why? Because of its location, because of its special credentials. Fine. But otherwise, he gave the civilizational color that India represent. What is India? How India is known? What is identity of India in the world politics? Vishwaguru. Fine. So you need Guru. Rest of the world needs enlightenment from India. So we will understand different discourses. But again, come back to the basics. You understand politics? Simple thing, keep it simple. Struggle for power. What is the other term for politics? What is the term we use in international politics? Geopolitics. Fine. And what is the foundational concept in geopolitics? Balance of power. How do you describe, how will you describe different, the foreign policies of the states? What states are doing? Balancing. Okay? They are doing, they aim to achieve balance. Fine. What is balance? Balance is an equilibrium. Fine. So is balancing the law of nature? Can we remain in disequilibrium for long? No. Fine. So we do balancing in our life. States do, everybody is doing balancing with the objective. Balancing is the minimum objective. Hegemony is the ultimate objective. Okay? At least what we want to have more power than other, but if not more power, at least less, we should not have less power than other. So our goal is what? Hegemony. The practicable goal is at least balance. Okay? So like your goal is, and it should be to be the topper, to be in top 10, but the minimum thing you have to ensure is you have a name in the list. Fine. So name in the list is at least you should not be less equipped than others. And after that line, baseline you reach, then the next level struggle starts. So life is a struggle for power, yes or no? And life is a struggle and survival of the fittest, fine? And that is what is there in international politics. And does anybody come for our help in our struggle? No. God comes for the help? No. God also help those who help themselves, fine? So in international politics, any God will come for India's help? We have to help ourselves, fine? How? By building our power. And how do we build power? Either by our own resources, that is called internal balancing, or if we are deficit in that, we may not rely too much, but we don't have an option, so we will go for external balancing, joining some other country. Okay, so now we were just understanding, you are clear about politics? So after class, if you go, can you explain politics to someone? Can you explain geopolitics? फाइन, तो जितना ज्यादा आप एक्सप्लेन कर पाएंगे उतना आप लिख पाएंगे, फाइन? यू कैन नॉट डेवलप राइटिंग स्किल विदाउट डेवलपिंग ओरल स्किल्स, ठीक है? तो पॉलिटिकल साइंस को रिवाइज करने का तरीका क्या है? बोलो, बको बको बको, बतियाओ, बकवास करो, लेकिन करो, बोलना है। मेट्रो में कोई मिल जाए उसको पकड़ लो, उससे पूछो, ठीक है? तो पॉलिटिक्स में लोग कैसे सक्सेसफुल होते हैं? बकवास करके, जुमला करके, बोलना। जिसको बोलना आएगा उसको कहते हैं पब्लिक स्पीकिंग। तो फाइंड द पब्लिक इन मेट्रो एंड स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग। डोंट रिमेन एंगेज्ड इन योर मोबाइल्स, start speaking, start questioning, start enlightening. कोई नहीं मिले तो कुक को बोलो, भैया तुमको जियोपॉलिटिक्स पता है? और अगर तुमने उसे समझा लिया, इट मीन्स यू हैव गॉट द प्रॉपर एबिलिटी टू कम्युनिकेट। तो पढ़ने से कुछ नहीं होगा, बोलने से होगा, ठीक है? आज जाके तुम्हारा टारगेट होना चाहिए to be able to explain someone what is geopolitics, fine? Suppose somebody asks you, what is this Indo-Pacific, free and Indo-Pacific concept? Just one word, geopolitics, fine? So now let us understand politics. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. If geopolitics is balancing of power, then why does a hegemon always appear?
Because that will not always be successful. There will be difference in the powers. Hegemon will always appear because we all aspire to be hegemon, fine? And anybody who wants ability will always try. You don't try for 200 rank, 300 rank. You try for which rank?
First, top rank.
At least which gives you IAS, IFS. Fine. So that is very natural. Politics is based on human nature. Okay.
So, ma'am, is it a fault of the theories or
it's not
it is inherent?
Who is saying that people will not go for hegemony? And who is saying that you will not go for balance? So we are talking both. There is no fault in the theory. First understand the theory. To understand the theory, first understand the terms, so that we can talk with each other. If I use geopolitics, you understand. Fine. So what is the last word you wrote? Politics. What is politics? Right. Politics is struggle for power. So in political science, political theory, do we use the term geopolitics? No. We use politics. And in international relations, geopolitics. Fine. So you write देखो, if the term politics is used in political theory, the term geopolitics is used in international relations. टाइम हुआ इनका, ये टाइम सही है, ठीक है. So that's all for today. Any question you have? You are finding subject difficult? Difficult है? अगर नहीं है मतलब आप वो समझ ही नहीं रहे. मुश्किल है कि नहीं? बहुत मुश्किल है. क्या मुश्किल लगा? ओके, थैंक यू. तो पेपर पढ़ना थोड़ा चालू करो, because in the paper you will get to develop the language of politics. Yes. What is your question? Yeah.
I have a question in continuation of the question that was asked by my friend. So, as we know, hegemony can never be non-coercive. There are always going to be an element of coercion.
Those things first you understand what is hegemony.
Okay.
It is a premature question. Okay. Ask doubts. Don't discuss your opinions. Right.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Shivam. And there is one question arises in my mind while you explaining things. And the question is what is the major role of political science as a national importance?
Political science in national importance.
National importance, yes.
So a country will be run by politicians, and political science is a systematic knowledge of politics. You will get more enlightened view how to run the system. So political science is master science, the science to be learned by masters. Masters means who are going to control others. तो अगर तुमको मास्टर बनना है, डीएम छोड़ो, पीएम बनना है. पीएम बनना है तो कौन सा सब्जेक्ट पढ़ना है? अपने पीएम कौन से सब्जेक्ट से आते हैं? बस अभी तो देश का उद्धार चालू हुआ है. अभी तक जितने आए थे वो अलग अलग, कोई इकोनॉमिक्स से आया, उतना नहीं चला पाया, है ना. अभी पॉलिटिकल साइंस वाले लोग आ गए. अब होगा. चलिए, थैंक यू.